This coffee was so good, we even spilt some on the GBFC notebook. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. I'm caffeinated, I'm excited, it's a double upload day today, and that isn't the only good news that is coming your way at the beginning of this video. It's Blue Friday, Black Friday it's normally called, but at the Chelsea Megastore, Blue FRI40 gets you up to 40% off at the Chelsea Megastore. Use the QR code that is on here on the screen, or if you can't access the QR code, there's a link in the description. Make sure you go through that link and use the code BLUEFRY40 for this Black Friday week. It's unbelievable scenes. Today, we have got some unbelievable stories to discuss with you. And later on this evening in the UK, there's a second video coming your way. It's an exciting one. It's about a new formation. It's about a new team that I've created, or Harry and I have created. So stay tuned for that one. But today we're going to talk strikers again. We did a video last week discussing the strikers, but as we get closer to that January 2025 transfer window, as Nicholas Jackson continues to score away from home, score at Stamford Bridge, the conversation about strikers, people aren't necessarily as uptight about it anymore. People aren't necessarily, we need a striker anymore, because Nicholas Jackson is delivering. However, we're going to go through a few different strikers today. There is some news to discuss regarding various blokes in the footballing stratosphere. And we begin with this one. This is a tweet from Sam Wallace. The Brighton and Hove Albion striker, Evan Ferguson, available on loan this January, as things stand, should pique some interest in the Prem and beyond. Story with Matt Law. So, Evan Ferguson, you guys remember this bloke, right? Football Manager, he's pretty decent on there. Brighton doesn't get in over Danny Welbeck. No disrespect or sarcasm intended towards Danny Welbeck. I personally think Welbeck is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League right now. I think he's brilliant, and he plays for Brighton. João Pedro's there as well. They're doing well. They're level with Chelsea. And Evan Ferguson kind of just feels like the forgotten man. At some point, people were saying that this is the Irish Erling Haaland. Couldn't be much further from the truth at this point, could we? The man can't get into the Brighton team, and contextually, Chelsea have been linked with Evan Ferguson in the past. There was times where he was being considered. There were times where he was scoring goals and he got a hat-trick for Brighton at some point, and then all of a sudden he's linked with flipping Real Madrid, Barcelona, and all of the rest of the big boys. So my opinion on this one, don't want to spend too much time on it. I think we should steer clear. I think the levels that Chelsea should be looking at, if we're looking at a striker, is to bring genuine competition to Nicholas Jackson. I still think I'm unsure if I want to sign a striker that is like directly competing with Jackson's spot, or, in my opinion, the right move is to get someone of a different profile so that we can keep adjusting game by game. What Maresca loves to do is change in accordance to who we're playing against. I don't think Nicholas Jackson there's no doubt in my mind that Nicholas Jackson is very quickly becoming one of the best strikers in the world right now. Genuinely. The man's scoring so many goals. The way that he plays, the way that he fights for the team and gets involved, assists as well. His all-round game is brilliant, and he's only improving. Evan Ferguson, maybe it kind of fits that bill of like understudy to Jackson, still a really high ceiling, but for me, I don't think we should be moving for Evan Ferguson. Thoughts in the comments as always. Chelsea have identified Brighton's Evan Ferguson and Ipswich's Liam Delap as alternatives to their main target, Victor Osimhen. They are no longer as confident about getting a deal done for the Nigerian. Now, Osimhen, I think, came out when he moved to Galatasaray and said, I won't leave during the middle of the season. I don't really know what to believe with this guy. I think there is definitely a saga that has been going on for many years. Chelsea have wanted Osimhen. There's the famous pictures of him in a Chelsea shirt. But I do think he will probably stay at Galatasaray this season. He will honour the loan from Napoli. And I've just got a funny feeling about Chelsea in January, you know. I think when you look at the position we're in the league right now, spoken about it on the podcast yesterday, spoke about it in a video on Monday, Chelsea are in a position here where, as much as like we're the little fish or the little horses, as people said in the comments of that video, there is definitely a race of sorts on this season. Whether it's just top four or like that pipe dream of potentially challenging for the league, I think this is the season where January might be the time to go in and buy that striker to make sure that we've got the firepower to actually win as many games as possible and potentially go as far as we can. Liam Delap. Ipswich's Liam Delap. I really like him, you know. I think he's a really good striker. He's a very big guy. He's strong. He's a unit. He's got different kinds of finishes in his arsenal. And that isn't me saying he's going to Arsenal. It's a different word. Same word, different meaning. Do you know what I mean? But Liam Delap is an interesting one that I would say watch throughout the season. I think there is going to be big clubs that are interested in him. If Ipswich go down, they're going to sell him. He's not going to stay. But I think at Ipswich right now, they're not doing too bad. They got a great win at Spurs, drew with Man United, were unlucky not to win that game. Liam Delap, I'd say keep an eye on, but I'm not entirely convinced he's at that level just yet. Now, this is the big boy news. This is the big story that is currently coming out of Record Portugal. Again, not entirely convinced by the real authority in this one, but Chelsea are leading the race to sign Victor Gyökeres and are prepared to agree a €90 million deal in January and loan him back to Sporting Lisbon for the rest of the season. Now, I don't know about you, but when I see, like, we're going to buy and loan back, it's immediately like a... Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, we'd rather he came and was there now, but Victor Gyökeres is currently probably the most sought-after striker in Europe. And I also think there is two other sides in the Premier League that could absolutely do with bringing him in. Manchester United, Ruben Amorim. There is a clear link there. The story about Man United right now is that Ruben Amorim has sent scouts to watch Goncalves, Gyökeres and Quenda, the Sporting players. Well, if they watched Sporting last night, they got battered by Arsenal, so hopefully they're turning a blind eye or turning their nose up to that one. Arsenal as well, I think they are probably a Victor Gyökeres away from being the best team in the league, if I'm being very honest. So Chelsea leading the race to sign him. Whether or not this is true, the work needs to be done now. If Chelsea are going to compete with Man United, Arsenal, whoever is interested in this guy, Barcelona probably going to be there as well. He's a goal scorer for club and country. The record is outstanding, and he keeps on getting better and better. And I think when it comes to the profile of strikers that you'd want in your side, that Maresca would want in his Chelsea team, Victor Gyökeres is very different to Nicholas Jackson. He offers you something, I wouldn't necessarily say more, but there is a difference there. And we've spoken at great length about Christopher Nkunku, and I will talk about Nkunku in the Heidenheim preview, which will be out on match day early in the morning tomorrow UK time. So I've got loads of stuff for you lot this week. But I think with Nkunku, Chelsea are looking at this right now, and we're learning from the mistakes, right? And signing Christopher Nkunku for, what was it, 54 million was never a bad signing. It's a great signing. The man's an unbelievable finisher, world-class player, if played in the right system, in the right position. And I think with Maresca, as much as he's done a great job of galvanising the squad, getting the best out of players, and really finding a system that works for Chelsea, Nkunku is definitely the biggest loser right now. And I don't mean biggest loser in terms of like he's rubbish. I mean he's losing out because Jackson's doing so well. Cole Palmer is the guy that plays in the role that the manager sees him in. I don't think Nkunku's a striker. Neither does Maresca. And I think the majority of people that watch football enough know that Christopher Nkunku is not a number 9, which kind of makes him in this Chelsea team a niche player that doesn't really have a place right now. That's the reality of the situation. And I know I say that phrase a lot. You guys have been calling me out on it. But Victor Gyökeres is just a proven goal scorer at this point. Even at flipping Coventry, he was doing it, for goodness sake. Premier League clubs, I think Brighton, Everton, could have signed him up on long-term deals. They didn't. Whatever. Like, at this point in time, those kind of clubs are no longer in the race here. We're talking about the big dogs. And I think Chelsea, if we signed Victor Gyökeres, I've always wanted Victor Osimhen. You guys know that. I think he is that kind of profile. But I think Gyökeres is just scoring enough goals to be involved in that kind of elite marksman conversation now. And that word elite gets thrown around a lot. And I think if you've got Nicholas Jackson and Victor Gyökeres at your club as your star strikers, like, you're knocking on the door for leagues. I'm sorry. But with the other qualities we've got in this squad, with the depth that we have in various other positions, you got Andre Santos, captain in Strasbourg right now at 20 years old. The man is unbelievable. That's going to feel like a new signing next summer when he comes in the midfield. So the striking position, and of course the goalkeeping position that I've literally just harped on about for so long. And I will keep doing it until Sanchez shows me that he's a good goalie. Do you know what I mean? Good shot stopper. We're going to move on. But like, Victor Gyökeres is that guy. And if Chelsea are leading the race right now to sign him, I'm fully backing this deal. I think this would be an unbelievable move. If we get it done in January, loan him out for the rest of the season. Look, it's not like we don't have options, right? You've got flipping Joao Felix, Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, Christopher Nkunku. Like, these players aren't just bad because they're not systemically fitting into the 11 right now. Chelsea have got options here. But Gyökeres, that is us really planning for the future and gunning for the league. There's also a story here. Chelsea have joined Arsenal in the race for Alexander Isak. But Newcastle will demand at least 115 million for their 25-year-old striker. Bloody hell, man. I like Alexander Isak. I really do. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great all-rounder. Do you know what? He actually really, really reminds me of Nicholas Jackson. And I think the trajectory that Nicholas Jackson is on, playing in a Chelsea team where he's now very much settled, he's very clearly the main man. Sometimes strikers like that, they just need a good run. They need to improve their finishing, which Jackson has done. His conversion percentages this season are significantly higher than last year. Alexander Isak, right? 115 million quid. There's a big gap between 90 million euros and 115 million pounds. Yes, Alexander Isak has proven that he can do it in the Premier League. I don't think Victor Gyökeres is going to have a problem with that. Scored a hat-trick against Man City, for goodness sake. This man can play against English clubs. It's not going to be difficult for him. And at this point, it looks like Sweden is coming to Chelsea. Is it Isak? Is it Gyökeres? I think 115 million is a hell of a lot of money. Newcastle, we all know that we thought they were going to go and spend the whole of the Saudi Arabian PIF fund money, but they're not able to do so. So they're going to be looking to squeeze out of their best player as much money as they possibly can, particularly when Newcastle were like, right, we're going to be in the race for titles now. We're going to be in the race for Champions Leagues now. FFP has made sure that that's not going to happen, basically. So there's no way that Newcastle will allow a player under contract at their club to move to a rival in the Prem for anything less than probably the ridiculous fees that we're seeing here of 115 million. If it was me, I'm going for Gyökeres or Osimhen or even maybe Liam Delap. But Isak is a great player. I really like him. But that fee is massive. I want to be trying to get a good deal out of a world-class striker if we can and still buy another goalkeeper if we bloody have to. Chelsea are set to sign Emmanuel Eway, son of former Arsenal and Ivory Coast right-back Emmanuel Eway. You guys remember this guy, right? Who has already played for Watford's under-21s despite still only being 15. Bloody hell. All right, cool. He's probably good. 15. It's Chelsea. Used to it. We finish today's video by discussing Chelsea are considering a summer swoop to re-sign Crystal Palace defender Markgie. This is something that's been touted, rumoured, discussed, speculated, gossiped about since Markgie left Chelsea in the first place. Look, I'm at a point now when it comes to the way that I see the recruitment strategy at Chelsea. And I watched the podcast with Graham Potter and the High Performance guys. I think it was a really fascinating insight into what has happened at Chelsea. Graham Potter even says in that podcast that he kind of feels like he was collateral damage to the sledgehammer that came in when the new ownership came in and Roman has the club taken away. We changed everything. But I actually think right now we're experiencing the upside of doing that. I think there was always going to be a big shift to go from having an owner that had been there for 20 years, won countless trophies and was the best owner in football, to flipping having two businessmen from the US come in. There was going to be so much chopping and changing. So many new players here, so many new players there. And I think what we've managed to do now is Maresca this season. Imagine this analogy, right? You know when you sieve pasta and the water drips through? Right now, we're doing that. Maresca's doing that. The water in the pasta's going into the sieve, and the bits that don't quite fit in trickle out at the bottom, and then you're left with a good dish on the top. That's what the team is right now. We're doing well. We're third in the league. We're going to win the bloody Conference League. We're going to win the lot, mate. We are. At some point. I'm telling you. But Markgie is one of those players that I think, yes, we've bought loads of players. Yes, we gave Koulibaly 300 grand a week. Didn't work. He's gone. We're sieving through right now, and we're going to end up with a lot of great ingredients. Mark Guehi, I think, is an upgrade. I think Mark Guehi right now could get into the Chelsea team. I'm very happy with Wesley Fofana, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But I just think there is a lot more stability there with Guehi. I think we could have the England partnership of Guehi, Colwill. That could win us a bloody World Cup. That could. I'm getting excited in this video today, guys. I really am. But Mark Guehi to Chelsea, we've heard it before. I think it's a great sign-in. I think he's a great defender. Again, it's all about the prices. Crystal Palace know that Chelsea have spent ridiculous money. I like to think now that Chelsea are in a position where we've learned from that time, where we were just throwing massive money out. I think we spent so big on Wesley Fofana. We bought into potential, but like Mark Guehi would probably cost something similar. And as we look here at the final tweet that I'll post today from Graham Bailey, Chelsea want to upgrade their centre-back options in 2025. Remember that Anselmino's coming as well, but I do think we need a bit more experience. Chelsea interested in bringing Mark Guehi back. Tottenham join clubs checking on England star. Newcastle remain interested, but January deal unlikely. I think Chelsea are in the best position here of all of these teams to buy him. Mark Guehi, I like the bloke. You just don't. Why would you go there? Why would you ever go and sign for Spurs, man? Honestly. I just had to get that dig in at the end of the video because it's true. I don't know why anyone would. Don't know why you'd support him either. But anyway, is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on Mark Guehi to Chelsea, Gyökeres, Liam Deap, Osimhen. Let me know your thoughts on all of these geezers in the comments down below. And stay tuned to GBFC because later on today, I've got another banging video coming your way. And then tomorrow's match day. We've got loads of content coming out this week. As I said at the start, if you're still here, make sure you use the discount code BLUEFRY40. It's up on the screen again now at the Mega Store. It's Black Friday week. Big mega sales all over the world in various different commercial fields. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in a bit.